we're closely monitoring the tropics. New models show increasing chances for rain that could impact your holiday weekend here and at the coast.
And why wait for the 4th? Some towns are lighting up the sky a day early, and it's not just about saving money. What's behind the shift?
More than 70 charges in 5 counties. A Durham man has a total bond of $1.4 million. What police say happened when they tried to arrest him.
All righty, look, now it's just me, but this is the radar I want to see heading into a holiday, into the July 4th weekend. Nothing at all. But that's not the radar that we're really focused on tonight. This is the one we need to watch, and it looks a whole lot busier, doesn't it? Thank you for joining us here at 7 o'clock. I'm Dan Haggerty. So this weekend, some tropical weather could end up reaching us here in North Carolina. Kat, this system, it's not much right now in terms of, what we could be impacted by, but that could change.
And, the main impact here is just going to be nuisance rain. We are not expecting major wind or flooding threats from this system, but there is still that threat for tropical development, and that's increasing rain chances, both here in central North Carolina and, of course, at the coast on Sunday. So we've upped rain chances, about a 70 to 90% chance along the coast Sunday. If you're traveling that way, it's not a bad idea to have an indoor backup plan. For us in Raleigh, a 40% chance, a 50% chance in Fayetteville. Still, the rest of the weekend doesn't look too bad. The odds of tropical development, 60% through the weekend, 30% over the next 48 hours. And we will get an update to these numbers before 8 o'clock tonight from the National Hurricane Center. Rain is increasingly likely Sunday. That's the big takeaway for your coastal impacts. Rip current threats will ramp up over the weekend. Winds don't look like a problem, gusts to 20-25 miles per hour. And rainfall, not a huge deal, just annoying. Half an inch to an inch and a half, primarily falling on Sunday. All is quiet for us right here, right now. I'll have a closer look at tomorrow's July 4th forecast here locally and how much rain could fall through the weekend.
A lazy Sunday is perfect after a nice, fun holiday, an exciting Saturday, but we don't have to wait until then because there are a handful of towns doing their 4th of July celebrations a day early. Why don't we take you out to Wake Forest right now where the gates opened up less than 2 hours ago. Willie Danley is there. It's a clear night. Pretty warm too, though, Willie.
Yeah, Dan, it's definitely hot out here, but I mean, look behind me. It clearly has not deterred people from coming out here to Heritage High School to ring in Independence Day. You may be asking yourself, why are they having a 4th of July celebration a day early? I asked that question, and apparently it's been a tradition here in Wake Forest, leaving the 4th of July open for residents to participate in larger celebrations around the area. And Wake Forest is not the only town or city to do this. Other places holding celebrations a day early include Apex, Smithfield, and Garner. We've been out here for a couple of hours talking to people about why they showed up a day early and what they're looking forward to.
Because if we wanted to travel still as a family, we could for the holidays, but also I like that they also have other things on the 4th, like we do the kids parade thing. So we enjoy the entire lineup for not just the 4th, but also the 3rd.
We still have about a little bit over 2 hours before those fireworks kick off, but there's still a lot to enjoy out here, including these food trucks and plenty of activities for the children. We're going to remain out here and keep you updated with how these events go. In Wake Forest, Willie Danley, WRAL News.
A little Chris Stapleton going on in the background. That looks like a lot of fun. We have a strange story for you here next. It's about a Durham man, a 26-year-old named Kenneth Covington, and he faces a lot of charges, 70 charges across 5 counties, accused in break-ins and thefts. In one case, he's accused of shooting at police. But what makes it extra strange is how long it took them to actually track him down. Investigators took about a month to catch up with him, and WRAL's Monica Casey found out why that was as she walks us through the timeline.
Wake, Chatham, Alamance, Orange, and Lee counties. All of the places police say Kenneth Covington committed crimes between late May and the end of June. Warrants say Covington broke into vehicles, stealing credit and debit cards, along with purses, AirPods, and sunglasses. Police say he spent the money at Walmart, tobacco outlet stores, and Sheetz. At the time of these thefts, Covington was out on bond on another charge, that one here in Durham. He was arrested in March for felony flee to elude arrest and released days later. The first break-in was in Chapel Hill on May 3rd. 30th, and Covington was identified on surveillance footage from a Walmart nearby. When Garner police tried to arrest him days later near White Oak Road, he damaged their cars.
Pulled me on a suspicious vehicle at 40 Drive.
Broadcastify radio traffic shows just how high speeds reached in that June 11th chase around 4 a.m.
Big black and 50 southbound White Oak. Speed 80, no traffic, 100 miles per hour. He's got pretty significant damage to the right side of the vehicle. Also has a headlight out, I believe still. Well, they just advised Joe because he ran into two of our cars.
That wasn't the last chase he's accused of leading law enforcement on. When State Highway Patrol tried to arrest him in Lee County on June 22nd, investigators say he fired a gun at them through the sunroof of the car before he was taken into custody. With charges in multiple counties, Covington has multiple court dates. Right now, he's being held in Chatham County. Reporting in Durham, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
I know a lot of you are just getting to the news after a busy day today, so let's give you the headlines. These are the 5 things you should know right now. Fire crews are looking into what started this house fire in Rollsville. Sky 5 over the scene this afternoon. This is on Redford Place Drive. The fire destroyed this house. Thankfully, no one was hurt. The family was not home at the time. But, things are tough for them now. The Red Cross is helping them with their next steps. Nearly 200 U.S. Marines in North Carolina will head to Florida to help ICE operations. The Department of Homeland Security put in this request in May. So up to 700 active military personnel in total will be part of this. The DOD says the Marines will perform non-law enforcement duties and are not allowed to make contact with people in ICE custody. Governor Josh Stein vetoed 4 bills today dealing with DEI and gender issues. These bills tackle diversity in schools and the rights of transgender people and a whole lot more. We won't get into all of the details here. The NC Capitol team has a great breakdown, though, for you. You should read this on WRAL.com. Check it out there. Over at the U.S. Capitol today, the House passed President Trump's so-called big, beautiful bill. No surprise this time from North Carolina's representatives. The Republicans voted for it. The Democrats voted against it. Only 2 House Republicans voted no, one from Kentucky, the other from Pennsylvania. President Trump says he will sign that bill tomorrow evening. The Carolina Hurricanes are getting active in free agency. Today, the team signed Nikola Ehlers. He got a 6-year, $8.5 million contract. He played for Winnipeg for the Jets last year, tallying 24 goals and 39 assists. There is a portion of an airplane wing blocking my driveway. My neighbor heard a loud noise last night, but it appears to be a portion of an airplane wing. That is your quote of the day, and it's from a 911 call made yesterday after a part of an airplane fell into someone's yard in Raleigh. First of all, nailed it. I mean, impressive airplane knowledge from the caller. Who guesses wing? I mean, here's a picture of the hunk of metal here in the driveway. Would you take a glance at that and say, oh, yeah, it's an airplane wing right there, right out of the gate with that? I mean, I guess it kind of looks wing-like, but that could be anything. It could be a piece of sheet metal. Hitting bullseye on airplane wing to 911, I just don't think the guy's getting enough credit. I just want to give him his credit. Anyway, the FAA confirmed today that the airplane part, well, it just so happens to belong to that Delta jet that landed at RDU with a missing part to its wing. A further inspection found that it was the plane's wing flap that fell off. Here is that 911 call. We'll let this person say it in his own words after he discovered what he saw in his driveway.
There is a portion of an airplane wing blocking my driveway. My neighbor heard a loud noise last night after midnight, but it appears to be a portion of an airplane wing.
What a thing to find. So he made that call around 8:30 yesterday morning from the homeowner there on Banbury Road. The plane was a Boeing 737 flying from Atlanta to Raleigh. And all of this, and I take a flight in about 2 weeks for a little getaway. And it kind of got me thinking, is it me or have we been reporting on this sort of stuff a lot lately? I mean, turbulence sending people to the hospital. That was last week at RDU. Crashes, doors flying off, emergency reroutes, mid-air collisions, drifting off the runway, low staffing, pilot shortages, all this. Has this stuff always been happening? Or do I just have some pre-flight jitters? I don't know. What questions do you have about all of this? I know you've been thinking about it. Send me your thoughts, dan@WRAL.com. Tell me what is on your mind, and we'll go in depth. So the 7 o'clock news is just getting started. Ashley Rowe is here now with what's coming up next.
Sean Diddy Combs is awaiting sentencing after this week's verdict, but the legal battles he faces far from over. There are lots of civil lawsuits against him, and one of the key players has ties to NC State, his chief of staff. We're diving into those lawsuits next. The Sean Diddy Combs legal saga is far from over. And what happens next has a lot to do with a woman from North Carolina, from our area. You probably know the big headline from this week, right? A jury found Diddy not guilty of sex trafficking and racketeering, but convicted him of lesser charges, each carrying a maximum 10-year sentence. The judge denied bond, so he'll be in prison until sentencing, which might not be for a few months. All of that was the big federal criminal case. But there are still several civil cases against Diddy. And in at least 3 of those cases, this woman comes up. Diddy's former chief of staff, Christina Coram. Long before she worked for the media mogul, she studied at NC State. Coram graduated from NC State in 2009 with a degree in business administration. She was in the Greek scene there, a member of Delta Gamma. A person who crossed paths with Coram in that world described her to me as super social and very involved in the sorority. Fast forward 5 years from then, Coram is posting a happy birthday message to her boss, Sean Combs. Thank you for being such a great boss and inspiration to us all. Combs also used Facebook to show his love to her, posting in 2021, I don't know how I'd function without her. Coram and Diddy worked together for the better part of a decade, and yet, even though her name repeatedly came up at trial, she was never called to testify. But her name is peppered through at least 3 of those civil lawsuits that detail some really graphic stuff: sexual assault, sex trafficking, drugs. The list goes on. They're actually so graphic that in the complaints, they have trigger warnings, warning readers about what to expect. Coram has denied the allegations, and she has never been charged criminally. I want to point that out. In a statement published by CNN, Coram said, I have never condoned or aided and abetted the sexual assault of anyone, nor have I ever drugged anyone. The idea that I could be accused of playing a role in or even being a bystander to the rape of anyone is beyond upsetting, disturbing, and unthinkable. That is not who I am, and my heart goes out to all victims of sexual assault. Coram is a defendant in one of the rape cases against Diddy. I'm not going to get into the details of that complaint. They're gruesome and disturbing, and as I said, Coram denies them. But just know Coram's name appears 46 times in that lawsuit. Another one of the civil cases involves rapper Rodney Jones, also known as Little Rod. The case accuses Christina Coram of instructing staff to obtain drugs for Diddy, of aiding and abetting Mr. Combs' sexual assault of him, and says she ordered sex workers and prostitutes for Mr. Combs. I spoke with Lil Rod's attorney. He says despite Diddy's acquittal on sex trafficking and racketeering charges, his case against Diddy and Coram is still strong.
I think that Christina Coram is going to have a rude awakening if she thinks that Sean Combs' acquittal of his RICO charge in any way, and his sex trafficking charges in any way, gives her a cloak of protection in these civil suits. It does not.
I have tried numerous times to reach Coram to get her side of the story. Again, she has not faced criminal charges in any of these cases, but I have yet to hear back from her. So for now, we will refer back to her statement from earlier this year. And she said, I am confident that the allegations against me will be proven to be untrue. We may never know the real story here. A hearing on Little Rod's lawsuit is scheduled for August 6th, when both sides could possibly reach a settlement. We have comprehensive coverage of the Diddy trial from beginning to end. You can check it all out at WRAL.com or the WRAL News app. And of course, we will be keeping you posted on the results of that hearing.
All right, let's take a nice breath in and check out this beautiful picture, a live look from the Garner Tower camera. Check out the sun rays that you can see here in the live shot. Garner, you have your fireworks tonight. Looking pretty good for it. Apex has theirs as well as Wake Forest, many others. Tomorrow night, a 20% chance of a storm at 7, 9 o'clock. Most of us are going to be nice and dry for fireworks. I would not expect this to be a big disruptor. 85 at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. By 11 o'clock, still 77. So it is going to be warm. The forecast for tomorrow, highs are in the low to mid 90s, 90 potentially for Wilmington, Nags Head, 85, 81 in Boone, and 89 in Asheville. But our next system that we are watching, a lot of moisture that you see here, and then a lot of cloud cover right in here. We could see something kind of spin up right offshore, and it'll sit offshore during the day tomorrow, but it could come together, especially Saturday into Sunday. About a 60% chance of that happening. We are going to get a new update from the National Hurricane Center by 8 p.m. Meteorologist Mike Mays will let you know the latest forecast tonight once those new models come in as well at 10 and 11 on WRAL News. The bottom line here is, though, we are likely to see some rain spread inland on Sunday from the system, which is annoying if you have beach plans or outdoor plans. The bad stuff is going to stay offshore with it. The heaviest rain well to the south and east of us, the strongest winds well east of our area. Even then, the winds don't look very strong. Storm chances Saturday, about 40%, I would say. These are going to be more of your typical kind of scattered afternoon storms. There's still going to be plenty of dry time throughout the day Saturday. Sunday is the day that you'll want that indoor backup plan. A 90% chance of rain and storms at the southern beaches. That chance 40% on our northern beaches, but it ramps up as we head later in the day and that system slowly slides north. If you're staying in town tomorrow, maybe heading to your pool, doing a neighborhood parade, 74 at 8 a.m. By noon, 89 by 4 o'clock. 91 degrees with that 20% chance of just a very isolated storm. Futurecast shows this system just sitting and spinning offshore, regardless of whether or not it is tropical. It's a low pressure system, and some of that rain will start to spread inland by the time we get to Sunday, likely. Saturday, perhaps at the coast, but Sunday we'll be watching for some rain here locally. It'll still be scattered. The coast, though, likely to see more in the way of rain. By next week, we've got a front on the way, and that'll bring a chance for some scattered thunderstorms, more of your typical unsettled summer weather. Dan.
All right. Sounds good. Kat, thank you. One last thing for you tonight. You don't want to miss it. A Cary student is one of only 4 Americans competing in an Olympic event that might break your brain. That story right after the break. But first, we got a big holiday weekend ahead of us. Tomorrow's the 4th of July, and there are many ways to celebrate out and about. One last thing to talk about tonight, and it's something we've talked about quite a lot here, honestly, at 7 o'clock. We like to talk about the impressive things that young people are doing in our community, from elementary school students to, who are studying things like the moon, to high schoolers competing nationally within their 4-H club. So we thought we should make a new segment out of that here on WRAL News at 7 o'clock. So tonight is our first installment of 7 p.m. Super Kids! Yes. It's an epic open for some epic young people, the future of North Carolina and in some cases the country and the world. And they're from right here in our area. Tonight, a young man who just graduated from Panther Creek High School in Cary. His name is Yash Shah. He's representing the United States in the International Chemistry Olympiad. Yes, that is a thing, and it's been around for 60 years. Brilliant people have gone through that, and Yash was one of just 4 American students who qualified after months of exams and competitions. These are photos from those elimination rounds. This year, the international competition is in Dubai. Yash and his family are there right now for a 3-day event. He worked so hard to get there, as you can imagine, making it through the local and the national competitions. But he told me his love of chemistry started well before high school, when he was a kid watching his mom in the kitchen.
I was watching my mom pickle something, and then I got really curious what it actually meant to pickle something. And so I went and I read some book about pickling, about fermentation. And I thought it was really cool, but I didn't understand any of it because there were too many chemicals and words I didn't understand. So I just kept finding or Googling the next word I didn't know. And eventually got so interesting that I thought maybe I should take some time to properly learn what all this is saying.
And he did. Since then, Yash has read and studied all things chemistry, anything he can get his hands on. He told me that the competition isn't just about chemistry, though. It's about the chemistry with the other people who are there and connecting with those other students.
The exams here and there are a little bit stressful at times, but besides the exams, it's a very fun, very social experience. And you get to learn a lot from a lot of these different people from all across the country, and you get to kind of learn from them. It's a really cool time.
Yash is going to Harvard, planning to study medicine. He credits his chemistry teacher at Panther Creek High School for helping to inspire him to get him this far. This teacher encouraged Yash to go for it, really, and to read as much as he could about chemistry and to get involved with the Olympiad. Any student, he says, can do this. Connect with a teacher and the resources in your school. And a lot of resources are online available for free. Thanks for being with us tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Have a good one.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air channel 34 and Spectrum channel 1257.